if I tell you there is a way to plan ahead so that your daughter has a 99.99% chance of getting into a prestigious school in Singapore? And it doesn't even require alumni or volunteering. No more gatekeeping, just proper planning. Hi everyone, I'm Lauren, and if you are new here, welcome. I create content to help families make more informed, intentional property decisions, whether it's planning around schools, upgrading your home, or building for the long term. If that sounds like something you'll find helpful, do consider subscribing. And for more personal insights and day-to-day tips, you can also find me on my Instagram over here. As a mother of 3, I hear this all the time from parents going through this Primary 1 registration process. I want to move to a place near primary school within 1 km. But here's the thing, registering for Primary 1 is not as simple as living within 1 km. There are multiple phases, hidden ballot risk, and cut-off trends that many first-time parents miss. And by the time they realize it, it's too late. In this video, I'll walk you through step by step and most importantly, show you how to plan ahead before you even shortlist a school or buy a property. Trust me, it will save you a lot of money and disappointments. If you're feeling overwhelmed, you're not alone. That's exactly why I'm here to help you approach this with confidence and clarity. The Primary 1 registration exercise runs from July to October typically for children entering P1 the following year. It's divided into 6 phases, each offering a different level of priority based on your relationship to the school. If you're planning to buy or move, take note. Your address must be registered by 1st July and you must stay there for at least 30 months. Let's break down the phases and I'll show you where timing, distance, and property decisions intersect. For phase 1, your child has an older sibling currently in the school, you will be guaranteed a placement, no balloting required. For some families, this is a reason enough to plan ahead to keep the siblings in the same school. It's a factor worth considering in your property search as well as your logistics moving forward. For phase 2A, it would be for parents, sibling who was an alumni, parents who is a school staff, and parents on school advisory management committee, or children who had attended MOE kindergarten in the school. Some parents even move closer to their alma mater to qualify. In some cases, proximity doesn't really matter and it's not necessary, so it's best that you check the data. In some schools, alumni outside 2 km still manage to secure a spot. So knowing that early can also shape your entire property plan. Moving to phase 2B, you may have heard that parents volunteering boosts your chances, and it does, but it's not always a guarantee. So in phase 2B, we can see that it is for parents volunteer who has already done more than 40 hours of service by 30th June registration year. So do take note, if your child is registering for Primary 1 next year in 2026, who is going to be Primary 1 in 2027, you must register for parents volunteering by this year June. For parents volunteer, do take note of the timeline because once you miss the timeline, you may not be able to submit to become a parents volunteer. And also under phase 2B, we have church clans affiliation linked to school, active community leaders. Under phase 2B, there are 20 places reserved. So now moving to phase 2C, which is the most popular phase during the P1 registration, because in this phase it actually opens up to everyone else, Singapore citizens and PR who have yet registered, and this is also where it gets competitive. Under phase 2C, distance is everything. The priority is based on citizenship and distance, and if a balloting is required, this is how the priority is going to be given. It will first be given to Singapore citizen staying within 1 km, followed by Singapore citizen between 1 to 2 km, followed by Singapore citizen who is residing outside of 2 km of the school. Let's say if there are still seats available, then it will move on to the PR in the same distance order. So because of phase 2C, many families rush to buy a home within 1 km. But here's the catch. Even within 1 km, you can still face balloting. And here's why I never rely on distance alone. I base on data. Do stick around as I will show you how I actually use data to determine where to buy and on how to move forward. Moving on to the fifth phase, which is the Phase 2C supplement. If your child didn't get a place in Phase 2C, this is your second shot, but with limited choices left. By now, most of the popular schools are often full, so strategy and timing matter way before this point in time. And lastly, Phase 3. Phase 3 opens up to international families. Registration only starts after local citizens and PRs have been placed. Proximity offers no priority here, so if you're planning to move or rent for school access, manage expectations accordingly. Here's an overview of our latest 2025 P1 registration exercise timeline. For Phase 1, usually it will be the beginning of July, then followed by Phase 2A, 2B, 2C, and Phase 2CS. So for Singaporeans and PR who are registering for schools that are often popular and oversubscribed, this timeline is very important. Next, moving to the property and distance rule. The address used for registration can be from the parents or the approved caregiver, and there is a 30-month rule. You must reside at the registered address minimally 30 months from 1st July of the registration year. And for new properties, it is also allowed if your vacant possession date is within 2 years from primary 1 entry. Take for example, if you have bought a new launch and the vacant possession date written on the OTP or sales of purchase agreement is on the 31st of December 2027. Will you be able to use this property address to register your kid this year? Yes, because your kid will start primary school on January 2026. Your kid's primary 1 entry is actually within 2 years of this vacant possession date. There might be changes, and if this part is not clear, do reach out to any experienced agents out there because this timeline is very, very crucial. And next, if you are using a resale property that you have just bought but have not moved in yet, you have to submit your supported documents to MOE, and your 30 months actually start from the start of the primary school. And the last point, caregiver address. Many a times I have heard of parents telling me that they want to use their grandparents' address because they are the main caregiver of their kids. But do take note, if you want to use the grandparents' address, under the MOE guidelines, it will be under 1 km to 2 km, even if they just stay next to the school. If balloting is required, it will be regarded as between 1 to 2 km. For P1 registration, most of the time, all the popular schools are often oversubscribed. Why are some schools more popular? Well, some schools have a strong track record of academic results, especially high PSLE scores and DSA placement. But of course, nowadays, we know that MOE have already do away with releasing the PSLE scores to the public. But of course, there will still be other news avenue that parents are able to get this from. And because of that, naturally, there will be higher demand as parents perceive this school as giving their children a good head start. And secondly, affiliation to prestigious secondary school. Some schools are feeder to well-known secondary schools, for example, Catholic High, Nanyang Girls, St. Nicholas, and a major incentive for parents looking at the long game. And of course, this links to my third point, which has strong alumni. Parents who have attended prestigious schools themselves or popular school per se, they are very likely to register their children back into their alma mater. These schools generally forms a very strong alumni, and this is what drives the demand as well. The fourth point, holistic development and special programs such as Gifted Educational Program GEP, strong in music, arts, sports curriculum, and values driven. These tend to attract more interest from like-minded families. Last point being location and accessibility. Schools located in matured estates, near MRT or within highly sought-after residential area like Bukit Timah, Bidadari, Marine Parade often see more competition. Before you even start to look to buy into a property near a prestigious school or a desired school, this is one very, very important step that most of the time first-time parents miss, to check the historical ballot record. Do you know that you can actually check the historical ballot record first before registering your child this year? You can check the historical record based on the previous year on the MOE website, and you can actually gauge your chances from there. I'm going to show you how I actually read the data. You can go to this MOE website where you can check the vacancies and balloting data back in previous year's PY registration exercise to gauge what are the chances if you want to go for this particular school in this particular phase. Let me show you how it works. And I will provide the link below. Step 1, go to MOE P1 registration site and click on past balloting record. This will tell you if balloting was required and at what distance, and whether Singapore citizens or PR got in. So for example, if I'm looking at Nan Chiao Primary School, which is located at Sengkang, perhaps I'm already staying there within 1 km, and I thought that it is a no-brainer for me to register my kid to that school via Phase 2C. Here's where things get interesting. If you look under Nan Chiao Primary School, under Phase 2C, there are actually only 88 vacancies and there were 247 applicants. Out of these 247 applicants, if you were to look further downwards, if you look at balloting, yes, meaning to say due to oversubscription, this phase requires balloting. If you were to look at it, Singapore citizens' children residing within 1 km of the school, it means to say that 236 applicants out of 247 applicants are actually residing within 1 km. If you are unfortunately residing out of the 1 km radius, you have no chance at all. And then if you were to look at the numbers, 88 vacancies, 236, your chances of getting into Nan Chiao Primary School purely based on staying within 1 km is 37%. My point is, if they don't get in, at least after checking, you know that your chances are as such. You will not be facing such a huge disappointment with no backup plan. You can look around your area for schools where balloting are usually not required. And let's say if by Phase 2C, you did not manage to get in, by Phase 2CS, you should be able to get into the backup schools that you actually plan for your kids. So I have collated some of the really heavily oversubscribed primary school based on past years' record, and we can see that Princess Elizabeth, out of 41 vacancies, there are 270 applicants. And out of these 270 applicants, 229 applicants reside within 1 km. So, if you reside out of that 1 km, you will not even be eligible for balloting. And for the children who are residing within 1 km, your chances is 17%. For Nanhua Primary School, even if you stay beside Nanhua, your chance is 26% based on the calculation that I have done previously. And for Nan Chiao and other popular schools residing within a mature estate, the chances 37. And now I have also pulled out some perceived popular schools. For example, Rosyth, if you were to base on last year's results, the vacancies for ballot and balloting applicants actually gives you a higher percentage at 48%. So what does this mean? Does it make more sense for you to blindly go into registering your child for Princess Elizabeth when you can actually plan ahead and have a higher chance of going into a different school? And look at Nanyang Primary School, which is also one of the more popular schools in Singapore. The vacancy balloting for Phase 2C, you have a 59% chance of getting into this school, just purely by staying within 1 km. And for Aitong, another popular school, same thing, you have about 48%. These kind of insights help my clients avoid disappointment and also plan smarter. Showing you the data here gives you clarity when making a decision to decide which school to select, which location to uproot your whole family into if you are a parent like myself who plan ahead for my children's education. Disclaimer over here is that this is purely based on 2024's balloting results, and the balloting result varies. For example, there's like more upcoming BTO in, for example, a Bidadari area, or TOP of new launches around that area, and even down to popular zodiac. So this year is the zodiac of the pig, and I have heard from clients, personal friends, that the result seems to be a little bit more skewed. There are more applicants coming in, And also, like for example, in the Bidadari area, the popular schools are getting even more popular. The results can differ. If you are studying the results, there are some trends and patterns that you can spot. I'm going to move on into a very interesting case study next. At the beginning of the video, I did say that what if you can actually plan ahead to get your daughter into a prestigious school in Singapore. Many top schools are popular because of their affiliation status, and that makes the balloting process competitive. For this particular school, Raffles Girls Primary School, based on past many years historical record, the balloting only comes in for children who are residing outside of 2 km. Based on 2024's balloting results, out of 135 vacancies under Phase 2C and 183 applicants, 4 applicants who are living within 2 km got in 100%. And for those residing outside 2 km, there are 37 vacancies left and 78 balloting applicants. Meaning to say, even if you stay at Woodlands, you stay at Tampines, that is so far away from Raffles Girls Primary School, you still have a chance to get into this school. Raffles Girls Primary School might be a little bit of a hidden gem. You have to understand why. Contrary to popular belief, Raffles Girls Primary School is not affiliated to Raffles Girls School, which is the secondary level. So if RGPS is on your data, there are ways to plan for your girl to get in almost guaranteed, but you also have to understand that there is no affiliation. That is why the popularity is not as high compared to the likes of Nanyang Primary School or CHIJ St. Nick's. This is a summary of the strategy insights. Secure a Phase 1 or Phase 2A if you can. And for oversubscribed schools that you desire to put your child in, make sure that you check the data first if moving within 1 km gives you a good chance of entering into the school. Parents volunteering in Phase 2B is not a guaranteed path. There are still chances that you need to ballot, so do check the historical ballot. Always have a fallback school with no balloting history. By the time you go into Phase 2CS, most of the schools or the popular ones are usually full. So you have to check around your vicinity to see, is there any other schools that you prefer your child to go in next. Plan to move in more than 30 months ahead, so it gives you more time to plan and you do not struggle to have to submit additional documents or even worse, miss the timeline for the registration. Check one map every year regularly because the boundaries can change. One map actually shows you where exactly is the 1 km radius or the 2 km radius within the school zone. And don't rely on short-term rental because MOE require you to stay in the same registered address for 30 months upon registration. And of course, buying a property within 1 km to prestigious schools or popular schools usually has a premium to it. So I do not wish for you to overpay and in the end did not get the results that you want, that results in huge disappointments. I've reached the end of my video. Let's be real. Moving house for school admission is a huge decision. And if school is extremely oversubscribed, even buying within 1 km may not be enough. That's why the smartest parents don't just act early, they act with clarity. Start with checking the balloting history, then understand which phase applies to you, and only then, if needed, make your move strategically. And if you found this video useful, share it with someone who's also going through the same journey. If you want to discuss about school zones, balloting trend, and whether a move makes sense for you and your family, feel free to reach out. Always happy to help. You can also reach out to me via my social media, my Instagram, TikTok, as well as my YouTube videos. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!